How y'all doing?
Yeah, great.
Coach, how physical have you guys been able to get now that you're kind of in the grind of the spring?
Yeah, pretty physical. Did a team run period today. Was the first time that we worked third and short. That looked kind of like it should, just from a physicality standpoint. We've got a lot of 9-on-7 periods in. Starting to get a lot more team in. The first, I think coach has done a good job of the drills were so important early. We had all kinds of indie and special teams drills, one-on-one periods, just individualized stuff. And as spring goes on, you get more and more team stuff, and so, we got healthy numbers, which is allowing us to get three groups. I've never been able to do three groups in spring, and we're maintaining being able to do three groups. So everybody's getting reps, everybody's getting looked at, everybody's getting evaluated, and we're getting a lot of team reps, which is encouraging.
What are your impressions of the offensive line, knowing that there are a few guys out?
Yeah, they got yelled at a lot today. They're you can tell it's practice number 9, and with it being as physical as it's been, we're starting to get some guys that are feeling it a little bit, and had a little stomach bug going on too, which knocked a couple of guys out, which is, I thought we would pull the plug on the third group and we didn't. So that good for those guys of, having to play more snaps. All those young guys and new guys, just the more snaps that they can log, the better it's going to be. So, just really happy with that group as far as hanging in there and just giving it everything that they got. It doesn't always look good, but we talk a lot about, really focusing on your technique, and those guys, it may take years. I mean, the old adage, you put young kids at the O-line position into the program and you just kind of forget about them for a couple of years, because it takes so long for that group, that position to, get bigger, understand the technique and just work technique so much over the course of years to where it starts making sense and you start getting good at it. So a lot of those guys still got, a couple years to go. The good news is we got 4 guys over there that are all injured that are going to be back in the summer, and so we'll be able to add 4 veteran guys that have logged a lot of snaps. So I'm encouraged with that happening in June.
In a way, all of these receivers are newcomers to the way you want to coach and the way Tequil wants to coach. How have you seen them maybe rise up to the standards that the two of you have for that position?
Yeah, that's a work in progress too. Just from this is how we're going to do it type thing. That's not going to happen overnight either. I mean, fortunately, you have you got some vets in there like I consider Luke a skill guy. Lindenmeyer. I mean, he's a veteran guy that is coming into his own. Dane Keys played a lot. He gets more comfortable with Dylan every day. Is starting to show up. Bonner is a tough guy. That's a skill guy that plays a whole lot of things, and just a tough guy that plays fast. And then Jacory's a vet as well. Nyziah Hunter made a couple of plays today that I've been waiting on him. So it's starting to make sense to those guys that have logged reps. And then the young guys just got to keep plugging away. A lot of times those guys are their heads spinning. We've got pretty much everything in. And I call it if we get into situational stuff, third downs, everything's on the table. It's not just the plays of the day. You get down into the red zone, everything's on the table. It's not just the plays of the day. So you can see their heads, the younger guys, Cortez and Isaiah, those guys are, their heads are spinning when you put it all together, which is understandable. The good news is it's spring practice, going on number 10. So we got 5 more opportunities to coach them and then come back in June and work more football, before the real deal happens.
What do you see from the backs, from Emmett, who's more of a known commodity?
Yeah, Emmett's Emmett. He's playing well. Quentin Ives is showing up. And the rest of them are all just young. That just need 100 reps. They need 1,000 reps at things. So they're giving good effort. EJ, we'll talk a little bit more about those guys when he comes up. But just young guys that need to come on. They need to keep playing and keep repping to see who that third guy can be, because that third guy is going to happen. You know, I've never went into a season where the third guy is not a reality at some point. The fourth guy is not a reality at some point. So those guys need to understand that and treat every practice like it's I got to get better at something time.
What's it look when you say Ives is showing up? What's that picture look like?
Just playing with better pad level, I mean, just getting his pads low, running hard, running physical, being physical and pass protection. He's just I go back to when I was here for the last 3 games. I mean, he wasn't a guy that we could count on at that point, and then the amount of time that he repped in December was really, really, really good for him. Okay, and went into the bowl game and scored a touchdown on the goal line. I think that gave him some confidence, and it's carried over. The good news is it's carried over. In January, February, March, he knew it was his time and took that seriously. And then we're out there for 9 practices. He's been a guy that we can count on for 9 practices.
Curious, Nyziah Hunter making some plays. Just what do you think about his potential, and what does he maybe need to work on to get
Yeah,
there?
he plays strong. He plays physical. You can see that on video. When we recruited him, he would make contested catches. He would run through, break tackles. Physical. He's a physical guy. He's 205 pounds. And plays physical. I've coached 210-pound guys that don't play physical. Nyziah does. He's got above average speed. He got behind a corner on a go route here, which I haven't seen that since I've been here. As a wideout, just actually like running by somebody and catching it over his shoulder. I mean, that was encouraging. But he plays physical. At this level, you're gonna have to run through stuff. You're gonna have to make contested catches when people are on your back, and he possesses the ability to be able to do that. So does Dane. Dane's a vet. Nyziah is just a sophomore. He's just got 1 year under his belt. But it's good to see. I didn't think he looked great in mat drills, in the off-season stuff. He's just never used to it. He's never done it in his life. He's never done that, But when the pads came on, okay, yeah, that's why we recruited him.
What have you seen from some of those early enrollee guys like Cortez Mills and Isaiah Mosey, just how they've blended in that Hebrew receiver?
Both those guys are going to contribute. They will be contributors in the fall. Okay, so they will continue to get better. We'll continue to figure out what they do well. On one-on-one reps, those guys probably have the highest percentage success rate. That very rarely do DBs get their hands on those guys. They have the unique ability to be able to stay away from defenders. They're not very strong, so the contested catch stuff is not probably is what you want it at this point. But those guys do a good job with body control and just playing the game. Now their heads are spinning, which slows them down some. But they really do a good job. They're talented young men. They're 2 very talented kids that will play this year.
Donovan was talking last week about the center position and what it takes to play there. How do you feel how that's been tracking this spring so far?
With Justin, I've been very happy with it. The snaps, the snaps need to improve a little bit. Which is not surprising because he's been playing guard, right? But very happy with his mentality. He's taken over a leadership role. When I was here for the 2 months last year, I don't think he said one word. Like, I never heard him talk in the huddle. I never heard him. I mean, he played well. He was physical. But now he's kind of coming out of that. He's always been kind of an undersized overachiever, and I'm like, you got to get that mindset out of your head. I mean, you are a dude. He can be as good a center that exists in college football. I firmly believe that, so really happy with his progress. And, you can see quite a bit of a drop off when the other guys get in. They're all young and just need a ton of reps. That's what I said about the O-line a little bit ago. Those 3 are a prime example of that.
Portal window opening next week.
Is it? Gee, you trying to put me in a bad mood or what? I was happy just out there coaching ball and not having to worry about all that stuff. I mean, You got bad news? What do you got?
Just based on what you've seen this spring, how active a stretch or how important a stretch do you expect that to be?
I don't have a clue what that's going to look like. I mean, we have so many kids getting so many reps. Nobody's complaining. You know, everybody's giving effort. Everybody's got opportunities to play. Everybody's got opportunities to show us what they got. I mean, if I was anybody on this football team, there would not be anything that I would be upset about, because you're repping. You know, the way that they're treated here is unreal compared to what I've been used to. You know, I think you could ask. I mean, shoot, ask Nyziah when he comes up here, like how we're treated here compared to how we're treated, like how others are able to do things for these young men. So, you know, Nebraska's a great place with you know, unreal resources, and these kids, if they choose to, they can benefit from this every day.
What did you make of that GoPro footage from the huddle? Rule said that you were one of the guys who was telling him he needed to take a look at it. Was that something you've ever seen before, ever done before?
So I saw it for the first time at TCU. TCU was doing that, and so I was like, so I asked Coach Dykes, Sonny, I was like, so what? Tell me about this GoPro thing, because I was in the defensive huddle, right, and I was on the defensive side, and so I didn't watch that angle. So I went in there and watched a little bit of it. It's 100% for communication. It's not about where your eyes are. It's not about any of that. It's 100% communication. Now, you can kind of see them looking this way and kind of looking this way. And when they run, they moan. And, you know, if they ever get bumped, they grunt. You know, I mean, all that's kind of funny. You know, if they make a bad pass, they say cuss words. And but it's about the communication. So a lot of times, you know, because we're not in that huddle. And so we don't know what's being said. You know, even like I'm talking to him, telling him to play, but I don't know what he's saying to the group. And so, you know, you get another funny part is you see the other 10, like looking at the quarterback, and you can tell if they're confused at times. Like, hey, what do I got? You know, the stuff that you don't see because you're on the sidelines, you're in the huddle, and so you get the communication. You can hear exactly what the play call is, if they screwed it up, if they said the wrong formation, if they said the wrong protection. So, you know, it really holds the quarterbacks accountable for what they're saying. And then it's the cadence. You know, especially if you're under center, there's a little bit more cadence than if you're in the huddle. You know, Dylan is just next level, telling everybody what to do, making checks, changing protections, you know, making alert calls. It gives coaches just all the answers as far as what was said out there. You know, I think it originated from Hard Knocks, if I'm not mistaken. I know the Dolphins did it and they used it as a teaching tool for new guys. Like, this is what it's going to sound like in the huddle, and you're going to have to be able to, like, leave the huddle and go to the line of scrimmage and line up based on what you hear from the quarterback, not what you see from the coaches.
Lindenmeyer seems like a guy that you've just really liked since you've been here. What are the traits that has made him elevate to kind of a leader on the team and where he's at?
Well, I think all three of those tight ends last year did a really good job. I mean, they all played, you know, a lot. I just, you know, Luke I just think he's a football player, man. You know, he was the youngest one, you know, and so I knew he was going to keep getting better and better. But he's another guy that is taking on a leadership role, is more vocal, incredibly smart, plays with unbelievable pad level. Is one of our better receivers, is reliable in the pass game, can get in there and put his hand on the ground and dig people out from a tight end perspective, sees the whole field and knows exactly what's going on at you know, every play. So he's just sophomore, going to be a junior, so he's going to keep getting better. Happy with where he's at. All good? Okay, thank you guys.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me out.
What have you seen in particular from Quentin and how he's improved even since from the end of last year to now?
I think it's the big thing to me is development. You know, I'm kind of like in deja vu mode, you know, from Emmett 2 years ago to now it's Quentin, you know, and working on Mackay, right? So it's like going through the process of what it takes to be a high-level running back. You know, I think Quentin's there's no doubt when we recruited Quentin that he was an elite athlete. But learning the position is something that he's really shown that progress since last year to this year. He's really shown his comfort out there too. He's getting more comfortable and more confident, and so this is the best I've ever seen him. So we're really excited about where he stands right now.
I know you believed in him when he was a recruit, but do you have to bolster a guy's confidence that first year or two when it's not happening quite right away for him?
No, I think that's natural. I think that's a natural progression. I know we're in a different world now where the portal and everyone's kind of like, an immediate fix type deal. But, traditionally, it's all about development, And so development comes from repetition, and that's the only way to get better. And so when he got here as a young freshman, it was a crowded room. So it's a matter of getting those reps, in a team period where as a freshman, you may only get 2 to 3 reps in a team period as a young guy. Now you're getting, almost 5 to 10 reps, maybe 15 reps a day. That's a different type of development. So, I think everything's really on course for him. I think it's the ball's in his court at this point. I think he's really, taking the coaching and really impressed with where he's at for sure.
How big for him was December?
Huge. And he got an opportunity to get, like we just talked about, get those reps. And, the confidence of going in that bowl game and running the ball in a short yardage situation, I think that put a little taste in his mouth, like, okay, I belong here. And so you can see it out there in spring in practice. It's just, he's putting the running back menu together and making guys miss in open field, dropping his pads, being effective in short yardage. But also he's a 215-pound running back that can run routes. So that's the impressive part. He's an every down back. So, Emmett's in a really good situation, and Quentin's going to be just fine if he has to take that spot.
What have you seen from the incoming freshman Parker and also Booth?
Parker's got some injuries he's dealing with. I'll let Coach Rule handle that. He's got some things going on, so he's not in practice with us today. But nothing major. But watching him practice, he's got natural instincts, really good vision, really good feel for the rush skills. He really understands the run game. So, but right now he needs to focus on his body, get healthy. Connor Booth, same deal. I think the big question with him was, everyone, not from our perspective, but the noise from the outside was always a Nebraska kid, blah, 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 blah. He ran for almost 3,000 yards. Can he do that at a big, the kid belongs here. There's no doubt about it. He's showing every day, getting better and better and better. He's showing that he belongs, and so we're really happy about where he's at.
You guys went really hard after multiple positions on offense, but even with losing Dowdell, not at running back, is that because of the confidence you have in Mekhi and Quentin?
Yeah, when we got Dante here, he had 18 snaps. And a lot of people didn't think he was good enough. You know what I mean? So, and then we had a spring. He had a spring here, and he was going through the same process Mekhi and Quentin went through. He had to learn protection. He had to learn identifying fronts pre-snap. He had to learn where your eyes have to be on every single run. He had to learn his read keys. He had to learn the menu. You know what I mean? So when he was at the place he was at before us, he was a scout team running back. He wasn't getting coached well. So when we got him, he was basically a high school freshman. And then through the course of spring, the course of summer, training camp, you saw what the kid could do on the field. And that's why, when the portal came open, everybody went after him because they could see the kid's got 3 years left and the trajectory he was on. I'm not trying to take credit for his work. That's not what I'm saying. But that process is happening now with Mekhi and Quentin. So we're fairly confident that those guys will hit that trajectory as well.
You said Quentin reminded you a lot of where Emmett was 2 years ago. Where have you seen Emmett make the biggest strides in investment?
Emmett's made strides almost every opportunity, every offseason. You know what I mean? So, I remember when I first got here, his first spring with me, he had an issue of looking at the football, getting handoff. You know what I mean? And, he had to learn protection. Where do my eyes go? So, then the second year, he understood the position. And then it was okay, make explosive plays, right? And now going into this year, his third year with us, the development process has transitioned onto the field. So he went from a guy that was developing in the room to now developing on the field to now progressing to being now a guy. He's solidified, and he's really at the top of his game right now. I mean, he's literally what we stand for as a program. If you look at what we talk about in recruiting and we talk about trying to build the program, he's the guy that represents that. You know, he's been through the process. He's been confident in the process. He's never. I know he wavered. I know there was some pressure on him with the portal and stuff like that. But he's a guy that believes in what we're doing. He believes in the coaching, and the coaching with him transitions to the field. And the best thing about this is that you've watched him grow from a guy that is ready to play to a guy that can possibly be one of the better players, if not one of the best backs in the conference. I mean, he has that kind of ability, and so he has a high standard, and he has high goals for himself. He's a competitive kid, but I believe he stayed the course, and he's earned the work. I mean, he's earned his position where he's at right now with reps and going through the hard work of becoming a good player.
What's your evaluation of just the short yardage work that you guys have done, and maybe who's the back or backs that are going to fill that role that Dante filled often for you guys last year?
So today was our first kind of shot at that right now. Quentin had a really good day today in short yardage. I know we'll give JB carried the ball for us a little bit, so he's a guy that can carry the ball. We got some other guys in the room. I mean, Quentin, Emmett can be a short yardage runner if we need him to be. Mekhi runs hard. Mekhi's ability to run the football is not something we have in question right now. Mekhi's just a young guy that needs the experience, but so we have some guys that can run the football in those situations. So we'll be fine there. And Quentin's really developing himself into that role right now.
32 pounds he's put on since he's been here. What as a coach, how much say do you have in that? What do you tell him about why he has to do that?
Well, I think it's a learning experience. I think when the high school kids get here, they don't really realize, the amount of stuff that they have to do to become a college player or a professional player. You know what I mean? So we do a great job in our nutrition program, but Coach Rule, we're hands-on on and off the field. So I know exactly how much he weighs every single day. If he comes in 2 pounds light, he comes in 3 pounds light, and Kristen does a fantastic job of making those plans for him. But every single day I'll get an email. I know exactly how much he weighs. So if he's down 3 pounds, I'll make sure that, hey, give me a quick reminder. Make sure you take your protein shake. Make sure when you wake up, go to before you go to bed. So it's something that we're hands on as a coaching staff. So it's not like he's still a young guy. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna let him I trust you to make the weight. So we're on top of him every day. So literally eating down lunch with him, looking at his plate, seeing what he's eating, all that stuff. So that's kind of our job.
What do you think? What's a good playing weight for Quentin?
I think right now where he's at, anywhere from 208 pounds to 218 pounds, as long as he can maintain his speed at his body weight, which he has been able to do. I think he weighed 214, 215 today. But if you watch him run a choice route, he can run a route like a smaller back. So that's the uniqueness of the kid. He's got flexibility. He's got twitch. He's got speed. He's got power. So really impressed. Now he's got to go do it. Now it's his time. He's got to go do it.
From what we saw at the end of last season, the expectation is that the running backs are going to be a lot more involved in the pass game, right? For you as a running backs coach, does that excite you to know that your guys are going to get, more balls in those opportunities?
Absolutely. I think I'm fairly lucky that I got a chance to be around Christian McCaffrey in that realm. You know what I mean? And saw the details of the route running that we did with coaching him and learning the techniques of being a route runner and how important it is. So that's really the wave of the position that's changing in college football, and NFL football. I mean, you don't really have just the big backs, so I think you're kind of limited in that role because the ability to play with 2 running backs or motion it back into the slot puts you in a real advantage. And I think that's something that Emmett, Mekhi have 2, Ken Williams, they have some strengths in route running. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
How's it going?
Good.
That's good.
A little different than Cal. It's a little bit different than a Cal.
Very different. Very, very, very different.
What I guess drew you to Nebraska in the first place?
What really made me came here was just to play in the fan base, really. Just the stadium, the facilities, Coach Rule, my personal coach, Coach Shorts. That's really the main reason I came here. And plus, like Nebraska, the brand will get you to the league. So that's my end goal, to get to the NFL. So I feel like Nebraska will help me get to the point where I want to be in life.
What's the adjustment been like for you with like the mat drills and, you know, processing in the spring ball, everything?
Yeah, the mat drills was crazy. I ain't gonna lie, but I feel like the mat drills prepared me and my team for the spring ball. Like the competitiveness, the hard work, the toughness, and all the stuff we had to do together really brought us together as a team and just prepared us for spring ball. And now we just got to showcase our skills as a team.
With the depth and like what you know about the receiver room, how good could this room be if it peaks out?
Yeah, this room has potential. We just got to keep getting better every day, pushing each other to the best we can do, and just put our best guys out there and to make plays. Like that's the reason why Coach Shores brought me in, Dane, Harley, which we know what happened with him, but it's just we got to bring the best guys in to make the plays to get to win.
What has been the most difficult part of adjusting?
I'll say the most difficult part is just getting used to the weather. I'll say it's for me coming from California, but nothing really been difficult for me. I've been in college for 2 years, so I'm just getting used to the stuff out here in Nebraska. But everything's been good. I've been getting help with everything. Like everybody's welcoming me here, and it's just been great people here. So there's nothing been hard for me really.
What did redshirting do for you to help you take such a big jump?
Yeah, redshirting really helped me locked in football. Like it helped me learn from other older guys, and just it helped me it helped me learn. Like it was very tough redshirting because I didn't get to play. Like I didn't see the field, but coming off that season, it really motivated me just to go out there and show everybody what I can do. And that's what I did at Cal, and now I'm here to do it at Nebraska.
What would you tell people that haven't seen Rayola play? I mean, how would you describe him to people who don't know?
He's a dog. Like he's that guy. Like on and off the field, he'll be I'll invite him to my wedding. He'll be the first dude I'll invite to my wedding. Like he'll be there and show up. He'll be the only one. If I invited him to my wedding, he'll be the only one probably to show up. Like he's a great dude. That's how great Dylan is. Like he's a great dude on and off the field, and I can trust him. He trusts me. Trusts everybody in the room, in the receiver room. And yeah, I'll just say he got a dog mindset and he wants to win, and that's what I can define as Dylan as.
You getting married?
I wish. Very soon. I wish.
And Nyziah,
Yes.
you're one of the bigger wideouts
Mhm.
in the room. How has your size, your strength kind of helped you on the football field?
Yeah. So my size, I'll say it helps me because some of the DBs are little bodies. We call them little bodies. So having a big receiver out there, we can muscle them up and get them off our bodies and get open in space. So I feel like with my size, I do that a lot, and I know how to get open on my routes.
On Raiola again, did you sense that connection with him right away in December, or how was that?
So when I first hit the portal, he was the first one to text me, and it was just we just have that good connection. Like like I said, he's a great dude, and he knows what he wants in Dana's offense, and I just cannot wait to be out there on game day and just catching touchdowns and celebrating with him and my teammates.
Hey, Cortez and Isaiah are newcomers. But what have they brought? As high school guys, and they look like high school guys.
Yeah. You wouldn't even tell they're freshmen coming out of high school. Their demeanor and how they want to work is very, very, very high for them. Like Cortez, he's young, coming out of high school, still learning how to get set, but his ball skills are very great. Isaiah, ball skills are phenomenal. He knows how to catch, hands to the tuck, everything. It's just learning. It's young guys, they're learning, and they will get there.
Does Coach Mosey get on his son a little bit more than you guys?
Yeah, he doesn't get on his son. He will talk to him to the side, but it's just everything positive around him.
As a clarifying question, Dylan was the first one from Nebraska to text you, or like the first one? Period?
Very first person to text me.
Like period.
Period. Very, yeah, he's a very good guy.
Were you surprised by that? Like,
I
what was
was
your
very,
reaction?
yeah, my reaction was very shocked. I was like, whoa, like Dylan Raiola, mini Patrick Mahomes, like, oh my gosh, I was very excited. But yeah, it was just, I felt the love, like that's what everybody needs around, so that's why I came here.
What'd you know about this program before entering the portal?
Well, I knew about this program after the Colorado game. Like it's just the fan base. I love how they come to every game. Support is just phenomenal here, and that's the reason why I came here, just to support.
As a guy who just went through the transfer process, portal's opening again next week. What's that process like from your perspective, and do you guys talk about that even in the spring?
Yeah, that process is very fun. Like you just gotta know what you want for yourself, and just know that everything's not guaranteed, and stuff can go to the left and stuff can go to the right. Like you just gotta know what you want going into the portal, and do what you gotta do to do what's best for you. All right, thank you. Have a good day.
One more player today, we'll have Jared Bonner.
Janiran, how comfortable are you just kind of in this role they've carved out for you, and now that you kind of have another year as a true wide receiver?
Pretty comfortable, just my third, fourth year, one of those. Pretty much know the offense like the back of my hand now, so I'm pretty very comfortable with what's going on with the offense right now.
Are you taking handoffs at all at this point, or back here at all?
Haven't really repped that yet, for real, but I mean, we did do it, did a little bit of that today. But, we ain't having like really for real while I'm in the backfield for real.
You've always been just really adaptable here. Did you always have that sort of mindset when you came to the program, or is that something you built upon when you got here?
That's just always been me. And you put me in any environment, any situation, I could adapt to it. That's just been me as a person. So, I can handle all situations. That's just a mindset I always had. So, yeah, that's something I always had with me.
I think it's interesting, you've almost worked with 4 different sets of receivers. Like when you got here in 22, that was a whole different group of guys until today. How does this group of guys, many of whom are newcomers, stack up? What do you like about it?
I mean, it's a lot of talent. It's been a lot of talent. Just keep saying, you see a lot of different guys, a lot of different skill sets. You get to learn a lot of different things from a lot of different guys, even from the younger guys. They got a couple things in their bag that I haven't probably seen before. So, you just learn from everybody. But that's the great part about it.
And what do you like about Coach Shorts? I think he's your 3rd receiver.
He's a great coach. A lot of energy. Great coach. I love the way he coaches. And I just love to see what we got keep going in the future.
What are the things that make you confident about this offense?
Makes me confident about the offense. That we can pretty much do what we want to do. We can run the ball if we want to run it, we want to throw it, we can do that. So that's how I feel.
How has the blocking been for the receivers? I know that was an issue at times. I mean, how have you guys emphasized it? And it's Coach Shorts and Dana. What's their approach with teaching blocking?
That's something they emphasizing a little bit. At practice we might do, a couple blocking periods, and that's something we're moving in the right direction in. We're getting better at it continuously.
What was the issue at times last year, just with some of the blocking, where maybe the timing and things just weren't clicking on some of those quick?
Yeah, I'd probably say just timing. Everybody just got to be on the same page. It probably could be a little technique here and there, but just timing. We just working on that as every time we go to practice, and we getting better at it every day.
What have you seen from Hunter, who was just in here, and we just heard from, what has he brought, his personality and his playing style to the receiver group?
He pretty great. He a good dude, even on and off the field. He pretty electric on the outside. And that's what I love to see from him. He come in every day ready to work. And that's how I love about him.
How much more comfortable do you see Dylan just in this second year leading that offense and the huddle and everything that goes with it?
I feel like, you feel me, he's getting even more comfortable than he was before, even though I ain't saying he wasn't before, but, as he's steady growing, and I love that about him. He's steady getting comfortable, and, yeah, just steady working, coming in here, getting better each and every day.
Over halfway through spring practice, where have you seen your team make the most gains here over the past month or so?
I feel like, offense. We just as a team, period. Everybody just clicking and coming together. Understanding what we're trying to do. Just here coming up forward. So, we ain't where we want to be, but we definitely going in the right direction.
When a receiver comes in here, it's either a freshman or a newcomer, a transfer, and they kind of want to know how they're supposed to adjust to Nebraska. What do you tell them? Because probably better than anybody in that receiver room.
To how to adjust.
Yeah, just like how to win rules, trust, and just get along at Nebraska.
I just say come in here and work hard every day, and everything you do it at full speed with just come in and work, and don't no slacking. It's how everybody got the same standard, no matter how old you are or how young you are. So you come in here and work every day, and that's just how you gonna get better as a young guy or even older guy.
How have you gotten better? Did you add weight, drop weight?
My weight haven't really changed for real. I'd probably say I went from about 225 to about the 220 range. I feel like I feel a little more comfortable there. So that's where I'll probably stay for this season. But yeah, just that little range right there.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thanks.